Now from Times Square, here's what you need to know.
So glad you're with us on this Friday. Let's ask you a question I know you know the answer to. We're looking at this brand new study that's looking at the connection between using social media and the risk of smoking and vaping. Talk us through this.
Well, I think social media is great for things like community. It also sometimes it simply helps with people feeling like they have a special space and friends. But unfortunately, it can also be a source of harm. So researchers in the UK sought out to see if there was a connection between social media and the risk of smoking. They gathered over 10,000 participants, research and data, children and young adults over this age of 6 years old, and they found that social media use more than 7 hours a day was associated with a significantly increased risk of smoking and the use of e-cigarettes, more than 2.5 times more likely. Now, reasons why this could be: number one, targeted advertising. Even though there are laws to protect against that, there are still ways that can get to children, unfortunately. Also, influencers and peer pressure and more peer influence and seeing other people your age smoking. And then there's this unknown connection between addictive behaviors and the use of social media. All in all, it reminds us to make sure that we set boundaries over social media, especially for young adults.
I was about to ask that question. How can parents sort of take control of the situation here?
I think first and foremost, understanding what the boundaries are, working on creating those boundaries with your children, having phone-free zones, having phone-free time zones, and also making sure that you protect children's sleep, making sure that you understand charging your phone in the kitchen away from the bedroom. And then also, most smartphones have set limits where you can say, oh, it can set a reminder. For example, in my phone, it does that. It says you've been using social media for more than 3 hours today. That's enough for you. And I think that's really helpful.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Of course.
Let's check it out with Jay O'Brien, who is in Washington with a look at your latest headlines. Good afternoon to you, Jay.
DeMarco, my friend, good afternoon. We begin with the deadly storms slamming the South. Ginger Z here with us for the latest.
At least 4 people were killed in storms near Houston as it blasted through, taking out windows and skyscrapers downtown. Debris was everywhere. We know that winds were at least 80 miles per hour, but look at this bar that was crumbling from the storm. Now, we're going to see more storms through the day today. Right in front of us would be the flash flood threat. So Hattiesburg over to Montgomery is in that 3 out of 4 category, but there's flood threats all the way up into West Virginia. But I want you to focus on the timing of the storms. For the damaging wind, it's overnight. It gets to Lake Pontchartrain there, New Orleans, by 2-3 a.m.
And Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito under fire after the New York Times published a photo of an American flag that appeared outside his home upside down just days after the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Flying a flag upside down has traditionally been a symbol of dire distress or protest. Justice Alito previously told the Times his wife was behind the incident over a disagreement with neighbors. His chambers has not responded to a request from ABC News for comment. There are still cases before the Supreme Court stemming from the January 6th violence. And the jury could hear closing arguments in the criminal trial against President Trump early next week. Court's back in session again Monday with more from former President Trump's attorney and ex-fixer Michael Cohen. He's the only witness directly tying Trump to an alleged scheme to falsify business records to hide the hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels from voters. Trump has denied all wrongdoing. And the historic move by President Biden to ease federal rules on marijuana, taking another step forward. It doesn't legalize pot nationally, but it would reclassify it as a less dangerous drug. Black and white Americans use marijuana at similar rates, but black Americans are more likely to be arrested and convicted for it. Moving on to exciting playoff action on the hardwood. The Minnesota Timberwolves winning, forcing the Nuggets into Game 7 this Sunday, and all eyes on the Knicks tonight, just one win away from their first conference finals in 2 decades, taking on the Indiana Pacers at 8:30 tonight on ESPN.
There's much more ahead here on GMA3 on this Friday. We'll hear from the landmark patient making remarkable strides, a chip implanted in his brain. Our Will Reeve with the network exclusive.
It is a fascinating story there. And later, the mom facing an unimaginable loss, now making the world safer for other families when it comes to swimming. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.
Welcome back to GMA3. In January, Elon Musk announced that for the first time, his company Neuralink implanted a brain chip in a human as part of a preliminary clinical trial.
This is fascinating. Neuralink aims to help people living with debilitating conditions communicate and control external devices with their thoughts. And I will sat down with the patient who received that implant in an exclusive broadcast interview. He is with us now in Atlanta, Georgia. Will, good to see you. And this story here, it's a big one.
It certainly is, DeMarco. It's the future is arriving faster and faster these days, and it was my honor to get to sit with Nolan Darbaugh, who was a fantastic subject, a great guy. He's been through a lot, paralyzed for nearly 8 years now, but he says this Neuralink device has really changed his life.
I didn't have anything to wake up for in the morning, and this has changed that for me.
In a GMA broadcast exclusive, Nolan Darbaugh, the first human implanted with a Neuralink chip in his brain, is telling his story.
I accepted that I was paralyzed and that was my life. I always held out hope that it would all get better.
At 22 years old, Nolan says he dove headfirst in waist-deep water, struck something, and sustained a spinal cord injury. He couldn't move from the shoulders down.
From the time of your injury until earlier this year, what was your daily life like?
I mean, one thing about being paralyzed is that there's a lot of time to sit and think. And so I thought through basically my whole life and realized all the mistakes I'd made and what I could do better.
Then, just last year, Nolan, now 30, receiving a life-changing opportunity.
One day, one of my buddies from college called me up. We talked pretty regularly, and he was like, hey, Neuralink, they opened up the human trials. And I said, what's Neuralink?
Neuralink, co-founded by Elon Musk, is an experimental implantable brain-computer interface, or BCI, a chip surgically implanted by a robot and connected by threads to a patient's brain that allows the patient to control a computer or smartphone with their mind.
This is all from there to there.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Neuralink is not the only company working on this technology. Several others are also testing their BCIs in paralyzed volunteers. Nolan now joins that small group as Neuralink's first patient.
I was just very happy that I would be a part of something that I believe is so monumental and this next step forward of helping people with paralysis.
What can you do now with the chip implanted that you could not do prior?
I can control a computer just like anyone else can, which is not something I was able to do beforehand.
You just played some music?
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. Do you worry because you are the first patient that something unforeseen could go wrong now that this is inside your head?
I wouldn't say worry. It was something where I knew that if I did this, then it would take a lot of headache and heartache away from the people down the road.
Just last week, news that some of the threads in Nolan's brain had retracted, affecting the performance of the device.
How'd you take the news when they told you that the threads had retracted?
Yeah, it was really hard. It was very, very hard to give up all of the amazing things that I was able to do. I think I had cried basically afterwards.
The problem becoming an opportunity for the makers of Neuralink to explore solutions.
The reason we do clinical trial and early feasibility trial is to uncover these sort of issues as early as possible before they get marketed. And we rolled up our sleeves and found various different ways to for Nolan be able to recover his performance, which we have successfully been able to do.
As for Nolan, the future of the technology only looks bright.
It's going to be amazing when someone can have a spinal cord injury, go into a hospital, get surgery, and walk out a couple days later. I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's as far away as people might think.
Wow, incredible story. And Will, you mentioned that this isn't the first of this kind of technology. Why do you think we're hearing so much about this particular one?
Well, there is the Elon Musk of it all, Eva, the billionaire founder, of course, draws attention everywhere he goes. Neuralink's main thing is the tiny little threads that are thinner than a human hair that are implanted in a participant or a patient's brain. That is what they're advancing the most in their technology. There are a lot of companies doing it. Elon Musk does help bring the attention.
I can't get enough of this story. So when could this implant be made more widely available?
Well, DeMarco, anything with medical breakthroughs, generally, the time horizon is measured in years. But DJ Suh, the co-founder of Neuralink, did tell me that his company is planning to implant participants number 2 and 3 in these trials in just the coming months. So they are looking to ramp up these trials, as are other companies of similar nature.
Some fascinating stuff. Well, you mentioned that there was a problem with the connective threads. So what has Neuralink done to fix that problem for the future?
Well, Dr. Darian, what the problem was those threads retracting, which basically in layman's terms means that the device wasn't working as well. But what Neuralink did was go in, tweak the algorithm, and they claim now his BPS, bits per second, that is the standard measurement for how this stuff works. They've actually improved it, they say, versus when Nolan was initially implanted. So this is all uncharted territory for the most part, so they're figuring it out as they go.
But look how far we've come. Wow. All right, Will, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and good to see you.
We've got the exclusive view behind the table. Every day, right after the show, while the topics are still hot, the ladies go deeper into the moments that make the View the View. The Views Behind the Table podcast. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, I'm Andy Mitchell, a New York Times bestselling author.
And I'm Sabrina Kohlberg, a morning television producer. We're moms of toddlers and best friends of 20 years.
And we both love to talk about being parents, yes, but also pop culture.
So we're combining our two interests by talking to celebrities, writers, and fellow scholars of TV and movies.
Cinema, really.
About what we all can learn from the fictional moms we love to watch.
From ABC Audio and Good Morning America, Pop Culture Moms is out now wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back. Drowning is the leading cause of death in children ages 1 to 4, and that's a statistic one Seattle mom knows too well, losing her 3-year-old. Now she's on a mission to help turn her own loss into a way to help save others.
Happy birthday to you.
It's not loud, it's quick, and it's quiet. No one thinks that it's going to happen to them.
We know that for children age 1 to 4 years old, drowning is the single leading cause of death.
You're floating, look. I had all of my kids in swim. Yori was 3. He was scared, and I told the swim teacher, we'll do it next session. We had a play date with someone at our preschool who happened to have a pool in their backyard. When we got to the pool, everybody just jumped in. Everyone was excited. There were kids, adults all around when we noticed that Yori was floating in the pool, with his face down. We called 911, attempted to do CPR, but he was pronounced brain dead.
Chicken, where are you going?
I founded No More Under in 2019, a year after Yori passed away. We are really dedicated to saving lives through education, legislation, and providing access and equity in aquatics. We're out handing out Water Watcher badges, stickers, and coloring books that just remind everyone to be safe. We've been doing our swim lessons now for 3 years, and in partnership with YMCAs and local city pools, we've taught over 5,000 lessons.
Remember, you're trying to stay above the water.
I can tell you it's incredibly beautiful to see the kids in the pool. You can feel the energy and the joy.
Drowning is 100% preventable. None of these deaths have to occur.
If you talk about drowning, people turn their heads. Imagine if we normalized and took some of the shame away from this and really had some understanding of what we can do to save all of these lives. I feel like Yori's changing the world.
And you know what? She is changing the world. She's saving lives.
Yeah.
So many.
So much that you can do, and she's doing so much there. Up next here on GMA3, Dr. Darian answers your question about a painful foot problem.
Plus, we are going shopping on this Friday with our beauty and lifestyle expert, Millie Almodovar. And she's going to shop it like it's hot when we come on back, baby.
Dr. Darian's back, and we're looking at the vegetarian diet today.
Yeah. So I think that this is a fascinating study because it asks the question, what are the real benefits of that vegetarian diet? So researchers have gathered over 49 review analysis, thousands and thousands of studies to basically understand outcomes, for example, of cardiovascular risk, pregnancy, cancer, and death rates for those who are on a vegetarian diet versus those who eat meat. Overall, they found that the biggest reduced risk, which was in cardiovascular risk factors, for example, reducing the risk of heart disease. They also found that those who were vegetarian and pregnant didn't have any differences in their birth weights, which often many pregnant mothers are asking that question. They also saw lower overall cancer rates, and that makes sense because things like red meat we know are associated with colon cancer, but they did not see any change in overall death rate. So the end point is the same, but the quality of life is likely better the more vegetables you have in your diet.
So after hearing that information, for those who want to consider becoming a vegetarian, is it something you can do, can you quit eating meat cold turkey? And
sometimes it's a cultural thing and honestly an emotional thing. Many people have different connections with food. For me personally, trying to transfer to more of a plant-based diet, I try myself personally to look at meat as a side order instead of a salad as a side order. I think that's a great way of starting that transition because I think we all should move toward plant-based. It's just overall better for our diet, it's better for our health, but it's about making small changes that you can keep up.
Look at it as a side order.
Yeah, our moms were right. Eat your veggies.
Exactly. Eat them first, too.
All right, Doc, thank you very much. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.
Sometimes I pray and I don't think God is listening. But he was that day.
Welcome back to What You Need to Know. The truck driver and mom who thought she might not live to tell about this moment. Dangling over the side of a bridge in Louisville after her truck was hit. Sydney Thomas speaking out for the first time. WHAS with the exclusive emotional interview. She says she and the firefighter who rescued her prayed together over the Ohio River. She goes back behind the wheel. She is going to go back behind the wheel on June 1st.
Just a good example of when it's not your time to go, it is not your time.
Also
Glad
the power of prayer, man.
The power of prayer, man. You can say that again for everybody in the back. Dr. Darian is with us now, taking a look at all of your questions that you've been asking. And here is one. How can I manage bunion pain without having surgery? That's from Carol L.
Bunion pain, it's a really common question, can be really painful. Often it's a protrusion or a protuberance at the bottom of the first toe. And this can be due to a couple of different reasons. Number one, hereditary reasons. If your parents have it, you're more likely to have it. Also, the types of shoes that you're wearing. Unfortunately, high heels increase the risk of something like that. So treating it can just be basic things like ice and making sure you're taking pain relief, but also preventing it from getting worse. Unfortunately, if you wear high heels, you want to take those off and wear shoes with wide toe bases. They often are not as pretty as other sneakers, but I will say that they're likely more comfortable. Also, one tip is getting arch support. A lack of your arch also increases the risk of a bunion formation. So those things might be able to help.
You saw me looking down at
I was trying not to look down at Eva.
Yeah.
I was like, she's good. She's
Here's
good.
the thing, though. I don't actually go anywhere in these. I just sit here. On your prescription for wellness.
It's using something called a neti pot. Everyone kind of knows that name. We call it in the hospital nasal irrigation. So during this time of the year, more and more people are sneezing and sniffling and having stuffy noses, mainly because the allergies are just at an all-time high. So this is something that you can do at home that doesn't involve medication. It's just nasal irrigation. The simple way that you can do it is that you can buy these products online. You can buy them in a store. The first thing you want to do, first and foremost, is wash your hands because you're going to be touching your face. And then you want to use distilled or sterile water. You do not want to use tap water because of the rare but potentially dangerous risk of an infection. The next thing you want to do is one more thing. If you have water that's not distilled or sterile, you can boil water and wait till it gets to room temperature. So then you want to take that neti pot and you want to lean over the sink and turn your head completely sideways as if you're trying trying to listen to the sound of the sink. And the nostril that's closest to the ceiling, you want to irrigate or pour water into that nostril. And you can, while you're doing it, you can hum or talk, and this can help to prevent it from going in the wrong place. And then the water is going to come out of the other nostril. And then after you're done with that, you can blow your nose and you can repeat on the other side. I think it's a really effective way to get rid of some of those allergens, that pollen, and even some debris in your nose.
And we're going to try it after the show, right?
Yeah, I cannot wait.
I definitely need some help.
I cannot. If people hear DeMarco screaming backstage, it's just me trying to help him with this nutty pot.
It does help, DeMarco.
I'm going to try it. I hope it does.
I think it's going to be really effective.
All right, Doc, thank you very much. And folks, we would love to hear from you. So hit us up on Instagram with all of your medical questions for our medical unit here at ABC GMA3.
Up next here on GMA3, a defining decision in American history.
Yeah, we're talking about the 70th anniversary of the Brown versus Board of Education decision that struck down segregation in our schools. Our deep dive next.
The first ever criminal trial of a former president is underway in Manhattan. It's one of potentially 4 trials facing former President Trump as he makes his third bid for the White House. What do voters think about his culpability, and would a guilty verdict make a difference in the election? I'm Galen Druk, and every Monday and Thursday on the 538 Politics podcast, we break down the latest news from the campaign trail. We sort through the noise and zoom in on what really matters, using data and research as we go. That's 538 Politics every Monday and Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts.
People who disappear without a trace.
Where is she?
The most notorious murder cases in New York.
Pure evil.
And the most devious killers.
There's a Hannibal Lecter feel to him.
For chilling true crime stories, follow the True Crime NYC podcast wherever you listen.
Welcome back. Today marks the 70th anniversary of a Supreme Court decision that transformed America when racial segregation in the public schools was struck down.
And that ruling was the result of several cases filed by the NAACP's Legal Defense Fund on behalf of more than 200 people from across the country. And I recently got a chance to sit down with the son of 2 of them as we began a new series, A Defining Decision, Brown versus Board of Education. I talked to this man, trying to ensure his family's role in that famous decree is not forgotten.
This is my father, and this is how people look like in the weekend, how they dress up like this and go to church.
Nathaniel Briggs prides himself on preserving his past.
This one, my father and my mother, they was just folks who grew up in rural Clarendon County, South Carolina, and got involved with a case that exploded throughout this nation, known as Briggs versus Elliott.
Briggs versus Elliott, a South Carolina case from 1950 that began as a simple request for a school bus for rural black students.
Those children who parents owned farms had to walk to school.
I heard up to 7 miles.
7 miles. Even in the rain, even in the wintertime.
That request, ignored by the school board, turned into a legal challenge against racial segregation, and that case became part of the 1954 Brown versus Board of Education decision, with the Supreme Court ordering an end to segregation in public schools.
Once we were able to desegregate schools, that led to a watershed moment in this country, which ended segregation in so many other realms of society and workplaces. There were so many ways in which Brown is the wellspring of so many of the freedoms that we enjoy.
Most people think the Brown decision was just one case named after the Brown family of Topeka, Kansas. But actually, it was a consolidation of 5 cases from across the country that the Supreme Court bundled into one. And the very first case of those 5 was Briggs versus Elliott. Nathaniel is the youngest child of Harry and Eliza Briggs, the first ones who signed onto the case that bears their name. I met him at the historic church where he is a trustee.
This was a big risk back then.
The pastor that spearheaded our movement, Reverend J. Delane, they burnt his house down, which is less than 100 yards from our house.
But wasn't that enough to have your parents afraid?
Those who had faith decided to stick together and change it, no matter what would come.
What came for Nathaniel's parents, he says, was loss. They both were fired from their jobs. The community seemed to turn against them. The family was split apart when Harry Briggs left the state just to find work.
I was 9 years old when my dad moved to Miami, Florida. So once a month, twice a month, he'll call up. When you're poor, you don't have a telephone back in that day. So go to the local funeral home and and hear my dad's voice.
Are you bitter because of what happened and how it feels like you guys were forgotten?
No.
Does it hurt?
Most people will say, oh, you talk, you anger. But they didn't see my passion for what I've been through. That's what you hear, my passion.
So let me ask you this. When you talk about Brown versus Board of Education, is it fair to say that you want that name changed to the Briggs decision?
I want South Carolina to be recognized as the first case.
A well-known attorney took up that challenge and in 2023 asked the Supreme Court to consider a name change, but the court declined to hear that petition. So that historic pronouncement from 70 years ago continues to be known as the Brown decision.
On this 70th anniversary, we should be asking ourselves, what is our Brown? What is our contribution to future generations? How are we going to advance our multiracial democracy so that 70 years from now, someone is asking about what we did?
My parents and others of that generation can't speak for themselves. So I'm here to speak for them on their behalf, that this struggle was real, and the history book should not leave them out the picture. At times he would say, for all the stuff he had been through, he'll do it all over again. They both said that.
What a story, and hard to believe that it's been 7 decades since it happened there. Both Nathaniel and the attorney who asked the Supreme Court for that name change clearly state that they don't want to take anything away from the sacrifices that were made and the courage shown by the Brown family and all other plaintiffs in the Brown cases. They say they just want to set the historical record straight, and our many thanks to Kara Thomas for that report as well. She helped produce it.
And yesterday, Nathaniel Briggs and all the plaintiffs' family were honored at the White House by President Biden.
All right, so to come on GMA3, we are going shopping with Millie Almodovar.
She's back to Shop It Like It's Hot. Today's theme is Treat Yourself. DeMarco, I wish you could see these dance moves. We'll have more in a minute. Stay with us.
All right, welcome back to GMA3. It is time to shop it like it's hot. And we've got our go-to beauty gal, Millie Almodovar, here with us. And she's rounded up a few of her must-have products to update your beauty routine this spring. Good to see you, my friend.
Hi, guys. Group hug.
Yes, always.
Can I just say, neither one of you are dancing like I saw you dancing.
Oh, we were about to. We had to clean it up just a little bit.
Clean it up a little bit.
You can shop right along with us. Just go to goodmorningamerica.com or scan that QR code right there on your screen. We've already been playing with these products.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have been. And let's get into the first one. This is the Amika. It is the Perk Up Ultra Oil Control Dry Shampoo. Okay, first of all, you were saying that you love the original one.
I love all of these products.
Yeah, so this
they smell so nice.
So yeah, they smell like, they have like a fruit scent.
You smell it?
But
that does smell
yeah,
good.
but this is for extra oily scalps like me. I wash my hair once, the most twice a week, and I work out, and I have very curly hair. So why I like this has bamboo stem cell extract and tapioca starch. You can play. I see you looking.
Yeah,
I see you playing.
But did you prime this one right here?
Yeah.
I just learned something about.
Yeah. So what that's going to do? That's going to
wow.
refresh. That's going to absorb the oil in your hair.
Okay.
They've also added an ingredient called sea buckthorn extract that's loaded with vitamins. This, even if you like, when I first do my hair, sometimes I just add it just to give my hair a little more volume.
That's like
a little
stylist
more
pro tip to spray it in your hand so you don't end up with it all.
Yes. Hello.
Okay,
Gives your hair volume and texture. This is $30.
Not bad.
All right, the next one. I know what this is.
Yes, this is the Beach Waver Wavy West Curling Iron. Do you guys know that this was the #1 selling product on TikTok for a very long time? And you know why?
That surprised me.
Because it is so easy to use. You literally, all you have to do is press a button, right? And it rotates the curler either left or right to give you the curls.
Oh, it rotates.
Yeah. You don't have to do a thing except press a button.
And figure out which way you want it to rotate.
Exactly, and that's it. That's it. And it has this ceramic barrel, so that's going to add moisture and luster to your hair. 3 heat settings. I love that it has after 30 minutes it shuts off because I am the girl who has driven back from like another borough to make sure I didn't leave my curling iron.
Trying not to burn your whole neighborhood.
Wow. It takes a lot of time.
I'm a little crazy, yeah. But it's so simple to use. $99.
Awesome.
Nice.
Okay, next, this is Rihanna, Fenty Beauty Soft and Lit Foundation. What I'm seeing right now with makeup, big trend, makeup is now with skincare. They're combining the two. So Rihanna, she just came out with this Soft and Lit Foundation. First of all, it's medium coverage, looks like second skin.
Yes.
What I love about it is she has put an ingredient called Kakadu Plum. Kakadu Plum is one of the highest sources of vitamin C. Why is vitamin C good for the skin? I know you know this, girl.
Oh, you already know.
Antioxidants.
Yes, very high antioxidants. And if you're a brown girl, if you get those dark spots on your face, it really helps like brighten your skin. Medium coverage gives you, it literally looks like your skin, but just 10 times better. $40.
Filtered skin. Filtered skin.
Even those.
Okay, this is the MAC Pro Brow Definer Pen. So if you were like me in the 90s, you were like ripping off your brows, you're paying for it now. This product is amazing because it has this very fine tip here.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
small.
It looks like hair. It looks like your actual hair. 14 true 2U shades. It's waterproof, smudge proof. I have been that girl that has put my eyebrows on and then I go to the gym and my brows all over my face. My friend's like, "What's up? Did you wash your face this morning?" And I'm like, "Oh shoot, it's my brows." That won't happen with
the gym.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen with this. This is $24.
Oh my gosh, you can't be the girl without your brows on. Oh gosh.
Okay, so this is the IT Cosmetics. It is their new Sun Blush. This is $34. Okay, so I love this product because it is a blush and a bronzer in one. So it gives your cheeks so much dimension. And again, we're seeing the skincare ingredients. This has hyaluronic acid in it. It has peptides in it. It has vitamin E. Gives you 24-hour moisture, but just beautiful color. It looks like you're actually blushing. Doesn't look like you have any makeup on. I'm telling you, I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
$34. You can get it at IT Cosmetics. Yes. Next is, I know you love this.
I like this one.
This is a Tarte Maracuja. It's the Juicy Lip Oil Plump. Okay, first of all.
Juicy Lip Oil Plump?
Because you want to have plump lips.
Yes, so I am obsessed with this because it has 15 oils per product, so it's really moisturizing.
Okay.
It has Maracuja oil. I love that they use Maracuja oil from a co-op in the Amazon that is exclusively female. It leaves your lips.
You have to push the button.
Yeah, you have to push. It has that power pump applicator. 15 oils per product.
Try it.
Yeah, but you can try it. Yeah, look.
I think there's a color.
You got to keep pushing.
No color.
You got to keep pumping. No, it's no color. That one doesn't have color. But they have other ones. They have pinks, corals. I'm wearing the berry one.
There's nothing wrong with wearing lipstick.
I'm wearing the berry one. Okay, next. All right, you want people to tell you smell amazing?
Always.
This is the Sol de Janeiro. It's the Bejos de Sol perfume mist. They came out with 3, but this ended up being my favorite. Guys, does this not smell like beach? Smell it. It has peach, frangipani, coconut milk.
Smells really good.
Oh my God! When you hug someone with this on, they will be like, Here's a fun fact for you guys. Latinas are the #1 buyers of fragrance in the world.
Oh, come on.
Yes, just let you know.
So you always smell good.
So we always smell good.
Millie, thank you so much. And of course, you can shop these items and more. Scan that QR code right there on your screen or head to goodmorningamerica.com.
We always have a blast with our Millie there. All right, coming up next, farming and friendship.
The new memoir and the author's farmhand friend, actor Nick Offerman. He's a big fan. We're back in a moment.
Married moms in the suburbs. They've been called soccer moms. They've been called security moms.
Pamela Wilk is a so-called soccer mom.
Those so-called Walmart moms.
She calls herself a hockey mom.
I love those hockey moms.
The hockey mom trying to connect with the soccer moms.
In the 1990s, the idea of soccer moms as the quintessential swing voter took hold. Elections could be won or lost based on a candidate's ability to appeal to them. But were quote-unquote soccer moms actually the deciding factor? In a new series on the 538 Politics podcast, we take a look back at conventional wisdom from past elections with a critical lens. Where did that wisdom come from, and does it hold up today? Find the Campaign Throwback series in the 538 Politics feed wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, welcome back to GMA3. If the hustle and bustle of modern life is making you dream of a simpler life in the country, then our next guest's new book is just for you.
It's titled The Farmer's Wife, My Life in Days, and it follows a day in the life of English farmer Helen Rebanks, and she is here today to tell us more, along with her friend, actor and part-time farmhand, Nick Offerman. Thank you so much for being here.
It takes two to make a thing go right.
Thanks for having me.
I have to ask, Nick, how do you two know each other?
In a nutshell,
I'm a fan of their style of farming, which is called agrarian farming, regenerative farming, through a writer from Kentucky named Wendell Berry. And so following him, I actually discovered them through Twitter, of all things. So if you want to find a nice farming friend, go to Twitter. Apparently, and we became friends I became friends with Helen and her husband James. I went to visit their farm in England, and I had adopted myself into their family.
Keeps coming back and back.
Does he do the work though?
Absolutely, we put him to work. Right? We really
I learned
do.
that from my mom and dad. When you taste cooking like Helen's, which the recipes are in this book, you say, "I will come back and do the dishes, please and thank you."
Oh, I love to hear that. So what is it about Helen's book that resonates with you mostly?
It's astonishing. I mean, it's like an origin story. She reclaims the role and title of the farmer's wife, and so it's a beautifully poetic and artistic rendering of the life of a homemaker, which doesn't necessarily can be a man or a woman, whoever is taking care of all the jobs that are uncelebrated, putting the meals on the table, getting the kids to school, teaching manners, maintaining patience. It's just a beautiful rendering of that lifestyle. And I grew up that way. My mom and dad also have a great set of values and a work ethic. And so I just said, this is a gorgeous piece of work that I think should be required reading for every household.
Uncelebrated work is so valuable, so important. Helen, in your writing, you don't hold back on the demands of life in general. What makes you share that?
I think the work that women do, quite often women behind the scenes, keeping things going, all the mums of the world, that they, all the errands and all the stress and the invisible emotional sort of load that we carry, isn't often written about, and it isn't often shared. And I love reading books to learn about other people's stories, and I wanted to share mine to open up kind of how it feels to be that person in the family that takes on that family load and does a lot of the cooking and the caring. There's an invisible army of women looking after everybody, isn't there?
Truly.
And I just wanted to celebrate that in the book and share some of my favourite recipes in there as well, because cooking good food is really important to me.
And cooking and eating good food, actually. I should say
yes.
cooking. Eating good food. DeMarco's seen me try to cook over here.
Quick, Eva.
My husband is probably watching. He knows better. You do share some of the recipes in this book. Are there specific ones that your friends and family were like, can I have that recipe?
Oh, there's so many different ones for different reasons. There's all the stories, there's food woven through the stories. The marmalade recipes in there, and that's from my grandma and my mum making that when I was a kid. And I think one of the favourite ones is my lemon meringue pie, because I love to eat that one.
Ooh,
so
that sounds good too. When it comes to philosophy, you say life is all about love.
Yeah, it's love of the land, love the livestock that we look after, and love around the family table, connections, conversations, and friendship. And it's great to have Nick on board, and when he comes to stay, we just thoroughly enjoy having him stay with us and join in family life.
Yeah, remarkable. It takes a lot of people to keep a farm going.
Certainly does, yeah.
Nick Offerman, Helen Rebanks, thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
you for having us.
And you can pick up a copy of The Farmer's Wife wherever books are sold, or you can scan that QR code. It's right there at the bottom of your screen to purchase a copy. And that is what you need to know for this week. I'm Eva Pilgrim.
DeMarco Morgan.
I'm Dr. Darian.
For all of us here at ABC News, including Helen and Nick, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you Monday, everybody. Bravo.
married moms in the suburbs. They've been called soccer moms. They've been called security moms.
Pamela Wilk is a so-called soccer mom.
Those so-called Walmart moms.
She calls herself a hockey mom.
I love those hockey moms.
The hockey mom trying to connect with the soccer moms.
In the 1990s, the idea of soccer moms as the quintessential swing voter took hold. Elections could be won or lost based on a candidate's ability to appeal to them. But were quote-unquote soccer moms actually the deciding factor? In a new series on the 538 Politics podcast, we take a look back at conventional wisdom from past elections with a critical lens. Where did that wisdom come from, and does it hold up today? Find the Campaign Throwback series in the 538 Politics feed wherever you get your podcasts.